This is Will Montgomery, former Washington Redskins center.
Yo, what's good, folks? This is Trey Johnson, the headbanger, yo, and you're listening to Mess Hall with Rally Captain and Tailgate Ted. Word.
What's going on, Rally? You got your Commanders little baseball jersey on there, man?
Hey, brother. Of course I do. And do you know why?
Why's that?
Because the boys are back in town. And today is the day that starts it off for everything that we as fans hope happens this year. The boys are back in town. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It was a long weekend. For those wondering, it's Wednesday the 3rd that we're recording this. We had 30 people at our house for Easter. So it was a lot of cooking. I wanted to take pictures of the food, but every time I put it down, it was gone. And it was more stressful than cooking for 500 at a tailgate, but it worked out. And then I made a mistake and going to opening day the very next day. And it was a 11-hour drinking session down at the baseball stadium and running around, and went to, I think it was final count was 7 different bars, and ran into a couple of listeners and had people asking about you and where's Rally, what's going on. And it's just a long couple days, man.
Well, I appreciate everyone that asked about me. But Ted, I did see a picture of some lamb, if I'm not mistaken, didn't I?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh,
It's Easter. You got to make some lamb for Easter.
yeah, I thought I saw some lamb and it looked pretty good. So you were able to post something. Now, maybe not all of the dishes, but you were able to post something. And I gotta tell you, if I could have jumped through this phone and had a bite, I would have, bro. I should have told you to save me some. I would have come by and picked it up.
We just got to get together for a little barbecue or something one of these times, man. Just
It's gonna happen.
maybe we'll have some listeners over or something one of these days. I don't know. Maybe a little
Oh,
listener get together party. Actually, I hung out with Commander Tequila, who
yeah.
chimes in on all of our socials. Dude's great. He ended up buying me a Bloody Mary that morning. We went to I ended up going to see B Mitch. No Finley. He's on vacation, but I saw B Mitch
Yeah.
down at the Green Turtle. And true to form, Commander Tequila was having a tequila sunrise at 11 o'clock in the morning and got me a Bloody Mary.
That's
So
him.
maybe him and a couple other listeners can come out and come hang out. We'll make the greatest hits, man. We'll try and figure something out.
Hey, it sounds good, man. And I'm sure as much as we love it, they love it as well. Is it potluck or how are we gonna work this out?
We'll have to figure this out. How many people we got? Maybe we can get someone to sponsor it. How about that?
See, there you go. That's what we're
So,
looking for. So if you're a sponsor and you want us to put you on, let us know so we can have this cookout.
hey, they can come over and hang out and eat with us too. Because, dude, I'm walking around. Well, first I had to go to Mission over by Navy Yard, right across from the ballpark. And my man Guy Lambert was doing a live Fox 5 thing for 3 hours. That's a lot of time for 3 hours. So he
Yeah.
had me come on a couple times in between margaritas, and we were just hanging out, shooting the S over there. And it was good to be back and just kind of amongst all of the DC fans. Even if you weren't a fan of like Nationals baseball, everybody I feel was there for opening day just to kind of be around the people. I know it's tough because you're working and everything else and you got to get up early,
Mhm.
but so many just Commanders fans that I know, I'm asking them, you guys pulling for the Nats? Like, nah, we're just here to come drink and just hang out with everybody. Weather wasn't that good, but it was still a damn good time once everyone got together.
It always is. I mean, sports, people, alcohol. Come on, man.
Margaritas, get some chips and
Yeah.
salsa. No, it was fun, man. I wish one of these times you can get out there because opening day, I know it's blasphemous, but to me, I have more fun at opening day baseball than I do opening day Commanders. Just because I can relax, right? We win or
Okay.
lose, I don't care. I'm not
I got
heartbroken.
you.
I'm not
I
yelling at
got
the
you.
refs, right? It's like this Sunday is opening day for the DC Defenders. So for those of you guys going out there, come find me. I'll be in the beer snake section. We'll go have a drink and add to the beer snake. But to me, you don't have anything vested if they lose or if they win. Hey, gravy, but you're just out there having a good time. Whereas, Commanders opening day, I'm stressed out the entire time, wondering what's going to happen. And we only get 10 games at home. And, we only won one last year. So every single one matters.
Ooh, brother, you had to remind me of that. But that's okay. That was last year. We moved on. Uh, as far as defenders games are concerned, I do plan on making the May 5th game. That's
Okay.
the game that I'm looking at going to, and fingers crossed, and dot my I's and cross my T's, and I should see everybody at the 5th, May 5th.
So I got 2 seats in the beer snake section. It's first come, first serve, standing room only. So if you want to sit in the front row right there, I got you. You let me know.
Oh, the problem is Rodney
Gotcha.
and the missus. So you got to look out for those two. So, but if it was by myself, I'd be right there with you, bro.
All right.
But
Well,
I maybe make my way over there to you if I
yeah.
can. If they
Come on
let me
by.
get that area.
We got to
Yeah,
get a picture of you holding the beer snake with the chain on and just go. Are you going to bring the chain out? No, the chain's staying home.
not the W. No.
You going to
Yeah,
get
that's
a defender's chain?
nah. I'm a one chain man, brother. I'm not two chains.
I hear you, man. Actually, my boy Alejandro was at Commander's Field, and they're here for spring break, and he was asking me if the team store is open. Like, I don't know. I haven't been to the team store since the last game of the season, and then he showed me a picture of all the Commanders chains there, and I said, Rally gets half a penny for every single one of those sold as a commission. So maybe buy a couple, and he can get like 10 cents.
I wish I did.
They need to, man.
I really wish I did. But hey, man, you know what? I used to get upset. I don't get upset anymore. I mean, everybody knows that I started it, and so it's just how it is. We'll keep it moving. You know what I mean?
I'm still maybe, I'll sign up to be your agent or something, see if we can get you some royalties because they made those little hog farmer little mascot things, those little like not like little Play-Doh things, little figurines.
The miniature, yeah.
Yeah. We
They got
gotta
me on it.
Oh, they had you on it too?
They had me with the chain. Yeah,
Okay. I didn't see that one. So
yeah.
maybe they get one
Everyone,
guy with a chef hat or something on there next time.
everyone. So where was I? I was in it was for the LA game at the rally, and this lady comes up to me and she says, I have a gift for you. And so I'm saying, a gift for me? Really? I mean, I don't deserve a gift, but okay. So she walks me up the steps, and we go back to the far end of the bar, where the rally was, and she presented me with this package, and I opened the package up, and there it is. It's 4 figurines. You see, well, I'm not sure if it's me or not, but it's a person with a W chain, and then of course one of the hog farmers, and then somebody else. So yeah, it was, and I said thank you. It was a great thing, man. So if
That's
that's
awesome,
me,
man.
I'll,
Did
I'll
she ask you
take
to
it.
sign it? I think I'm pulling it up right now. It's on
No, she didn't ask me to
QVC
sign
for
it, but she gave it to me.
$32.
She gave it to me. Yeah, she didn't ask me to sign it, but she gave it to me. Yep, I'm
There you go.
yep, I'm to the left. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So the one on the right looks like Hog Farmer Jeff, maybe. But yeah, okay. So it's the other 2 guys are just football players.
Uh-huh.
So and then
And then
okay, yeah, that's you. He needs a
that yeah.
flag. If he had a flag with like all the stadiums on it, then there's no doubt. But they probably have to give you some royalties at that point.
Well, see, that's what I'm hoping about Madden. I'm hoping that Madden can go ahead and put me on with my flag in the front row waving it. I mean, they got everybody else there, so
I haven't played Madden in at least 15 years, man. It got too competitive and too crazy, and
oh
it's
oh
been a long
yeah.
time.
Yeah. And the thing about Madden and all these video games, I used to be a big gamer, but then what happened was, you get off work, let's just say at 2 o'clock. Next thing you know, it's 10 o'clock. And you're saying, where did the time
Yeah.
go? You spent 8 hours on the freaking game and didn't even realize it. And so your day is gone. So I had to give that up, but I really wish that I could get back on it. But I know that if I go down that rabbit hole, mm-mm, mm-mm. Yeah, I would never get out of the house, man.
See, that was me with Warzone. I haven't actually turned my Xbox on in forever because every free time I get, I'm playing pickleball. But that was just me and the boys getting on there and playing some Call of Duty. And
Hmm.
next thing you know, it's 1 o'clock. And Mrs. Tailgate sending me a text message saying, keep it down because I guess my headphones died and it was coming through the TV speakers at that point and not through my headset. So, and all you hear is like, me and the guys yelling and cursing at each other. But yeah, man, it just, priorities change once you get a little bit older. But speaking of competition, there was a couple of QB competitions or pro days for a bunch of quarterbacks. So the Commanders went to Caleb's pro day. They went to Jaden's pro day. They went to Drake's pro day. They went to JJ's. I mean, they're doing their due diligence. They're talking to all the potential QBs out there that are first round picks. Some might say that some of these guys may not be a first round pick, but who knows? How much of this are you paying attention to? How much of this do you even care about? And how much do you think this even matters?
Well, for me, Ted, what I've done is I didn't watch it on television. I YouTubed the throws, if you will, and I looked at Caleb and I was like, okay. And then I looked at Daniels, and then I said, you know what? What does it matter? Because there's no pressure on the kid. There's on these kids to throw the ball. They're in a very comfortable environment. They better make all the throws. I mean, they're in a little shorts, and we called them shimmels back when I was in high school. I'm not sure what they call it. We'll just call them t-shirts. And so there's no pressure. Just throw the ball, catch, release, throw it, and be done with it. So I said, realistically, if I really want to see what they did, I'll go back and look at some old game footage versus the pro day. The game footage is what has their stock up, if you will. Now, for a guy who is not going to be drafted in the top 10 or whatever have you, then yeah, I say he needs to have a pro day. But if you're the 1, 2, 3, realistically, the team's mind is made up. And it's really weird because you hear the announcer saying, "Oh, Dan Quinn was just so happy. He was like butter when he saw May throw the ball, and the Commanders know who they're going to pick now after that." 'Cause it's like, dude, all of this is a smoke screen to try to throw someone else off their game. Now, if he was that gushy about it, okay. And I think like everyone else, whoever we decide to pick, we're gonna get behind them and cheer for them. So that's why I say realistically, it doesn't really matter. What about you, man? How invested are you?
So I'm with you, man. These kids have played college for how many seasons? Like we have a ton of snaps on Jaden Daniels. Everyone knows what he can do. He's throwing against air, right? They're in, B-Mix likes to call it t-shirts and panties at that point.
Hmm.
They got nothing on, they got no pads. So what does it even matter? To me, what matters is when they come to the facility and they actually get a chance to have one-on-one conversations with Peters and with Quinn and with Kingsbury and all the guys there that we're not going to get a chance to see. Because how
Yeah.
many times have we seen people freak out because so-and-so threw a bomb 70 yards during his pro day? But when push comes to shove and it's an actual game day, he's sitting there like a deer in headlights, just frozen, doesn't know what to do. And next thing you know, boom.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of our listeners and a lot of fans are watching it and breaking down every single thing that happens. And there was a reporter from the Patriots. He said Dan Quinn shook his head and pretended to leave as if to say he's seen enough after a special throw from Drake May today at his pro day. I mean, I don't know if anyone actually believes that or thinks that. I mean, this tweet was seen 167,000 times, but
Yeah.
so was my tweet about a hot dog from Nats Park, right? And, it is what it is. I don't think people really care. There's nothing real happening right now. A lot of people call it lying season. And
Mm.
I think it was the Junkies this morning saying that they were hypothesizing that Harbaugh, the new coach for the Chargers, was hyping up JJ McCarthy. So another team moves up to get him, and then they'll have Marvin Harrison Jr. fall down to the Chargers, right? Like you don't know what's going to happen. So I'm at the point where unless we trade our number 2 pick, I don't really care about any of this pre-draft stuff. None of it matters to me because
Hmm.
Quinn and Peters, more so Peters, is going to pick who he thinks is best for this team.
Yeah.
And until he pulls a Cheeseman-like move like Rivera, I trust the guy.
Oh, definitely. I mean, up until this point, I mean, what do we have, like 20 draft picks? Not draft picks, but free agent signings already. So, um, I and I like pretty much all of those sightings so far. So why wouldn't he do the best for the team and the organization? So I'm looking forward to it. And what do we basically have? 15 days, something like that. 20 days
We
to,
got,
to
21 days, what, 21,
20
24 days?
21
Yeah.
days. So that's what I care about, and I gotta tell you, I feel like this is my version of Christmas, man. I really do. I'm marking out the calendar saying I'm going to be there to witness this in person. And there's an X on the calendar, another X, and it's like a kid on Christmas Day.
I can't wait, man. I actually got people sending me work meeting invites for the 24th and 25th. I'm like, nope, auto decline. I am going to be at the draft, hanging out, and there's no chance I can pretend I'm sick because they're going to see us on TV hanging out. I know it's going to be all
Yeah.
over the place. So it's like, all right, you guys should know, like, opening day baseball to me is always a holiday. It actually ended up being a work holiday because my work gave us Easter Monday off, which was nice because I took the day off anyway. But there's certain days that you should know that you're never going to see me. If the Commanders play on prime time, I'm off that day. I'll be at work bright and early the next day, but I'm off that day.
Oh,
Opening day
really?
baseball. Oh yeah, nah. I mean, I'm not going to miss work. I can, sleep through a couple 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock meetings. That's not a problem. I'll just put myself on mute and turn the camera off. But opening day baseball, I'm not missing, and the draft. And since they moved it to a Thursday, Friday, it's got just more excitement to it. I mean, they're drawing this thing out. And I almost want to say the schedule release day. That to me is almost has to be a holiday because I'm sitting there looking to see. I mean, you know better than anybody. Okay, where are we going to get flights? I got to book all this stuff up. I mean, sbevents.net's booking travel for, thousands of Commanders fans. I'm just trying to do it for me at that point, but just trying to see where I can get my hotel rooms and everything else for wherever we're playing that season.
Yeah, man, you brought up a good thing with the contracts as far as the hotel contracts, airline contracts. I mean, there's so much involved that I'm really even not ready for just yet. My mind hasn't wrapped around it yet. My mind right now is the draft, brother. That's where my mind is, and I really cannot wait. But on the flip side, after the draft, I will be in full SB events mode. And matter of fact, even at the draft, I will be in SB events mode, just talking to people and finding out, who needs what, and just gathering thoughts of different things for people. So I'm looking forward to it. You always network, and you never know who you may meet.
Yeah, it's always that to me is one of the best parts of it is just being around all the other fans. I didn't
Hmm.
know 2/3 of the people that I met on opening day, but a bunch of them were listeners running around, and I ended up hooking up this father and son to go on Fox so they could talk about him taking his son to his first opening day game, and that guy
Nice.
was grateful. And it's just you never know who you're going to see and what's going on out there, but
Hmm.
a couple people we will see come training camp. The Commanders brought on 4 more players. Peters and Quinn are still at it. They brought on a running back from the Niners, Jeremy McNichols, to add some more depth there. They brought in, to me, this was kind of surprising, Olamide Zacchaeus. The guy's a wide
Yeah,
receiver.
from
He's
Philly,
five,
right?
he's 5'8". I mean, I think we had the tallest tight end room in the league last year. I'd like to see if we have the shortest wide receiver room because I'm starting to really question the height of this wide receiver room. I know Curtis Samuel's gone,
Yeah.
but this guy, I was kind of shocked. But I mean, it's early, and they need training camp bodies. They also brought in Jeff Driscoll, a former journeyman quarterback, and this guy could be a good, fill-in reserve. Michael Walker from the Steelers. He actually played for Quinn with the Falcons, and he had 100 tackles in 2022.
Hmm.
So he had some injury problems last year, but hey, if he can rebound, who knows? Maybe he can give Wagner, a Luvu, or Jamin a little bit of a break, get back out there.
Jamin is still someone who is I'm still trying to figure out what they're going to do with him, and I'm sure he's worried about it too. I mean, is he going to get? You think he's going to get much playing time this year?
Oh, I think he's going to get a ton of playing time. And
Okay.
he's playing for a contract because they are not going to extend that 5th-year option. He has not earned the right for that 5th-year contract and how many tens of millions of dollars that's going to get. So if he wants to get paid next year, he's going to have to ball out. And
Well, they're going to have to put him in the right system as well.
yeah, they definitely are. And I think
Yeah.
that Witt's going to be one of those guys that's going to be able to put him in the best situation. I don't think it's going to be like Rivera and who was Del Rio, moving him from
Yeah.
Mike to Week and then back and forth and giving him the dot and not giving him the dot. I mean, you know who's getting the dot. It's Bobby Wagner at that point. And, wouldn't surprise me if it was Louvu after the fact. So it'll be interesting to see what we get from Jamin. But the team just reported yesterday for phase 1 of voluntary workouts. So we are one of 3 teams that was allowed to meet a week early. Teams that have a new head coach being the Falcons with Raheem Morris, the Chargers with Jim Harbaugh, and us get that extra week to meet. So you also are allowed an additional voluntary veteran minicamp, and the offseason programs are earlier to make time for veteran minicamp. So good news is we get some extra time. I'm also excited because that also means we're not on Hard Knocks. I know a lot of fans are upset about that, but I don't think we need the distraction right now. Let's let these guys, get a little more traction underneath them before we start putting cameras in front of them. But there's 3 phases, right? Phase 1 consists of 2 weeks of activities limited to meetings, strength and conditioning, and physical rehabilitation only. Phase 2 consists of 3 weeks of on-field workouts, including individual or group instruction and drills, quote unquote, perfect play drills, and drills and plays with offensive players lining up across from offensive players and defensive players lining up across from defensive players at walk-through pace with no live contact or offense versus defense drills allowed. Phase 3, 4 weeks featuring a total of 10 days of organized team activities. Teams can do non-contact 7-on-7, 9-on-7, and 11-on-11 drills. Everything in the offseason program is voluntary except one mandatory minicamp during phase 3 of the offseason. I know there was a big question if Chase would show up because it was voluntary, because for a couple of years he didn't show up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we'll have 95% participation in this or more or less?
I'm going to say more. I'm going to say more, and I say more because ultimately, this is, even though that you're a veteran, this is your first day at school with the new head teacher. The head teacher is Dan Quinn, and Quinn wants to. I could be wrong, but I believe that Quinn wants to see, okay, realistically, I know it's voluntary, but who can I count on? Because they always tell you this is what matters to a lot of people, the stuff that doesn't happen on the field, the preparation that leads up to the game. And they gave us a week early for a reason. So I believe that the players are going to want to show Quinn, hey, we are dedicated to you and this team and our brothers. So that's what I believe. What's the count?
So I haven't seen the actual count yet on who's shown up and who hasn't shown up. And the media interviewed a couple of players, and we got some clips from that coming up here in a minute.
Okay.
I am curious. I agree with you. I think it's going to be damn near 100%, if not 100%, because you got a new coaching staff, right? And they only brought back 4 of the free agents that were on this team last year. Everybody, short of Terry McLaurin, in my opinion, and Deron Payne, because their contracts are limiting to the point of you can't get rid of them, has something to prove. And we just saw Stephon Diggs, who was the best receiver in Buffalo, get traded to the Houston Texans, and the Bills ate $30 million of cap space just to get rid of him. So I'm saying when no one's safe, no one's really safe. And you got a new head coach here that did not pick any of you other than these free agents. And
Right.
if you're a free agent, you got something to prove. So you mean to tell me you guys are getting paid millions of dollars, and in phase one, you can't come in and just sit in a meeting? You know, maybe it's spring break for some of these guys' kids, because I think it's still spring break going on right now, and
Right.
a guy misses a couple of days or something like that. But I expect all of them to be here. This is actually what Tress had to say about what's going on right in phase one.
Yeah, I think what was really cool was DQ hit us right out the gate. This period is about getting to know each other and compete. And he said something that I thought was awesome. He's like, he made us all. He said, if you were here last year, stand up, move around, different seats, get to know guys. And he's like, man, those of you that have been through this before, you know how it goes. In 6 weeks, some of these dudes that you're meeting for the first time will turn into some of your best buds. And that's so true. Nobody's just ever said it just flat out like that. And I just love that mindset. I got a couple guys next to me that I've never played with in the locker room, getting to chat with them every single day, getting it all mixed up with different guys in the workouts, and then starting to ramp up competition stuff. So it's very, very cool, like clear mindset of what this period is.
I mean, if you think about it, Tress has a new long snapper, a new kicker on top of it, and he's going to have a new holder as well. I mean, that's a whole new group of people he's going to have to talk to and get used to. And I know he and the long snapper have some history from college or something back in the day, but the special teams group, if any of you guys have ever been out to practice, those three guys pretty much all just hang out together the entire time. And he's just getting to know all of them and just getting to meet all of them. So you mentioned the first day of school. To me, it's even more, you know, I don't say egregious than that, but it's the first day of school after your parents just got stationed someplace else in a new land and you know nobody, right? All these people, you know, if you're going from like middle school to high school, you know a lot of those same people. But now the people on this roster, I don't know the percentage, but there is a huge turnover on this roster. We talked about it. There were almost 30 free agents that the Commanders did not sign that were their players. They only brought 4 of them back, not to count the 24 people that they just brought on board. So a lot of these guys they've just never seen before, or they just seen on, you know, playing Madden or, you know, YouTube highlights or something like that. So I'm sure everyone's just getting a chance to properly pronounce people's names and just seeing who they are in this locker room.
Yeah. The other thing I like about that is this. Last year and the year before, the guys knew each other and your position was pretty much solidified. This year, no one knows anyone. There isn't going to be any brotherly love, so to speak, right now. These guys are vying for a position. And that's what I like, because the competition is going to be through the roof, and you want to impress your new coach, your new owner, because as you said, man, hey, they're about winning and they're about bumping heads. And if you're not going to be willing to bump heads, meaning hit the pads hit, got no use for you here. So everyone can be a potential victim. So I'm really ready and willing to see it. And I really just can't wait, man. I keep saying that, and I'm going to say it until I'm blue in the face. So I can't wait.
I mean, Peters was part of the front office that drafted Trey Lance, who is no longer on the 49ers and plays for the Cowboys. Just think about that, right? The number 3 pick in the draft. And they just completely dumped him and got rid of him because he couldn't perform. So to me, if I'm one of these players on this team, I got to think to myself, maybe we talked about this last week, Cornelius Lucas, right? Luke was a swing tackle and he's running around and he wasn't really a starter. But if I'm Luke, I'm thinking Peters has no loyalty unless you perform. I got a chance to take over that spot. We know they're going to draft a left tackle in the draft, but that kid still has to earn his spot, because you would think the number 3 pick that you trade up to get has somewhat earned his spot, but no, not in Peter's system. So these guys all have a shot to make an impression. That's why I definitely agree with you that they're all most likely going to be there. And I think Dan Quinn is just a different type of coach. And this is actually what Tress had to say about what stood out with Dan.
Last couple of months, we've talked to a lot of players that have played for DQ previously, that he's a player's coach. In your limited interaction with DQ, what have you picked up on? What stood out about DQ for you?
Yeah, I texted him as soon as he got the job to congratulate him, and he was just like, "Hey, can I give you a call?" And we just chat real quick. We were celebrating a family birthday out on the West Coast, and I was like, "Hey, I'll be in Monday. I'd love to pop in." And we chatted for close to 20 or 25 minutes, and I bet 3 minutes of it was about football, and all he asked was how I got into the league, and that was just cool. Like I just got to sit there and chat with my new head coach up in his office, and just the questions he asked, and I got to ask him some questions, and it was I'll always remember that. That was a cool way to kind of start this relationship and friendship. So
you heard a lot of stories from former players that were under Quinn that just love him.
Yeah.
And his one coach where he wrote that handwritten letter to the guy's family about them having to move, and then cutting up film of Micah Parsons to help his son work on his own type of blocking scheme and this and that. And to me, that just seems like the type of person DQ is. So I think, the meetings are great. The rehab is great. The strength and conditioning is great. But for these guys to get a chance to know their new head coach and who this guy is and what he's all about, and the fact that he takes the time to get to know the player and who you are, and not just you've got to do it this way or my way's the highway type thing. And it reminds me of a story that Brian Mitch was telling where he had a special teams coach that was basically ripping into him at that point because he wasn't doing it his way. And the coach just didn't really explain things the way B kind of understood it. And to me, you have to get to know these guys before. And it's almost you've got to walk in my shoes before, they've done it before, then you can actually follow in their footsteps to a degree. I've never got along with managers in my particular job unless they've actually done my position before. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that Quinn knows how to punt, but I'm just saying that he's actually played the game before. And I'm sure he's treating these players just like he wants to be treated. And that's what the biggest part of this first week is for me, is him getting to know all these guys coming in.
Man, it puts goosebumps on my skin. It really does, because here we are. We're at a point to where there's no more excuses. There's no more. You can't look at, well, this owner was here. This is a brand new book, brand new pages. It even got that brand new smell. So these guys are going to be ready to do what needs to be done, and the time can't come fast enough.
It can't. And they were actually asking Terry a couple of different questions. So today it was Tress, Terry, and Duran that were meeting and talking to the media. Duran didn't really have much to say. They asked him about, would you be okay lining up at other positions like defensive end? And he talked about, how he lined up at DN last year, but he just really wants to play defensive line and so on and so forth. Terry said that they haven't even gotten their iPads yet. So they haven't had a chance to look at the offense or do anything. Terry was asked if he had a chance to give his input on who they should take at quarterback.
Chick here. So obviously there's a draft coming up April 25th.
Mm-hmm.
As a wideout, I think we all know that a quarterback should be chosen. Do you add your 2 cents at all? And as you look at the top quarterbacks, what do you see?
Yeah, I haven't really looked at them too closely. I think where we're at in the draft, obviously we'll get the chance if they choose quarterback, we'll get one of the elite guys. So I'm just looking forward to whoever they bring in, kind of help bringing them along. Going into my 6th year, I kind of know the lay of the land and everything, and anything that I can do to help them become acclimated and be a part of our team, I'm going to try to do that. So obviously I don't know. They don't ask me, but my job is when they get here to kind of help bring them along as much as I can, because, we'll go as far as the quarterback goes.
Could you envision Terry saying, "Hey, draft this guy because I really like him throwing"?
Well, you know what, Ted? So it's weird that you asked that question. So back in the day when Larry Michaels was here, we
No
would
S.
have the no S and Larry Michaels. That's right. That damn Fred Smoot. But when we used to have those chalk talks, and I'll never forget, we had Alex Smith at the time who came in, and the players got to ask him questions. And so I raised my hand, and Larry brought the mic over to, or his assistant brought the mic over to me. And my question to Alex was, do you get to, as a quarterback, do you talk to the coach and say, hey, I want this receiver to come on board? And he goes, absolutely not. He goes, absolutely not. Basically the same thing that Terry kind of echoed. He's nope. As long as he gets here, he can catch is all I can do. I don't have any input on who they bring in as a receiver. And I said, well, would you want to be one of these top receivers? And so he basically said, I don't have any say. So when Chick asked him that, I was like, no, Terry wouldn't have any say on that. No different than you or I. We don't have any say in the matter. So, but once they get here, show me what you can do and give me the ball. That's all I ask.
Well, I don't know if you remember, it was CP was heavily trying to get Coach Gibbs to sign, like, draft Sean Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
So because of CP and Sean's relationship at the U in Tana, I mean, I don't think Gibbs would have drafted him. I think Coach wanted to go a different direction, but we'll never know how that works out. And safety and running back, completely different positions. But to me, Terry, he's not that diva. He's not that kind of person. But I'm thinking in his head, he's probably watching these pro days too, and he's probably watching some of this film to see which one of these cats is going to throw me the ball. What's going to happen. And he's probably shaking his head wondering, at least I am, how the hell did Carson Wentz lockbox his way onto the Chiefs to be Patrick Mahomes' backup, man? I mean, that guy has got some voodoo to stay in the league this damn long.
Well, I guess it's the whole red hair. That's what it boils down to. All the red hair gets him in where other people can't. So I found that to be very surprising and shocking. But obviously, they see something we don't see in practice. I mean, one thing that we both said, he can spin the ball. Now, whether he can get it there, that's a different story. But he can spin the ball when no one is rushing him. So there you have it.
I saw him throw a lot of balls in the dirt too, but if he lockboxes his way into a second Super Bowl ring after Nick Foles won him the first one, I mean, he's got to have a horseshoe stuck up his ass, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. But Terry's got a new offensive coordinator. You got Cliff Kingsbury coming in here. He was asked if it's easier. I mean, he's gone through 4 in he's been in the league, 5 years now? I mean, that's a lot of change.
Going on 6 years.
6?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a lot of OCs in such a short amount of time.
This is your 4th offense that you've adjusted to?
Yeah.
Get easier at all as you do this?
It's definitely, an adjustment, obviously, when you're learning a new offense. And it's kind of the same mentality I take into last year and years past, where you kind of just want to take a day one approach. You kind of erase what you've learned in the past. But at the end of the day, I think schemes in the NFL are relatively similar. It's just the names and the formations that may be a little different. So just getting used to the terminology, and Cliff's offense is just going to be something that's an adjustment for all of us. But the good thing about it is I got some good time on my hands to really put some work in studying when I leave this place. So I could come in here when we have walkthroughs, and when we start to put our helmets on, we can really hit the ground running. So far it's we haven't learned anything yet, but my approach is the same. Try to take good notes in there, ask good questions, and then study on my own at night.
I can only imagine how much of a badass he'd be if he could actually be in the same system for some consistency. I mean, I know a lot of fans didn't want to get rid of several coordinators in the past just because they wanted that consistency for the players, but it didn't work out. I mean, 4 offenses in 6 years.
That's one thing about being a pro. I mean, you got to be able to adapt and overcome, just like the military. do we know how wordy Kingsbury's offenses are? I mean, that's one of the biggest things that we hear, that we heard last year and years prior. The offense is just so freaking wordy to where it's hard to get down. So I'm wondering, uh, how wordy is it? And, because that sometimes hampers an offense because you've made it so long to try to remember the whole thing.
Yeah, I haven't heard yet anyone talk about Kingsbury's offense or what's going on. And he himself said that just because he ran an air raid style here doesn't mean he's going to do it here.
Hmm.
And I feel that they've got to dumb this down. If we really have a rookie coming in and starting off and leading this team, he can't make it as complicated as Bieniemy did for Howell. I mean, we
Yeah.
saw how unsuccessful that was. Or you're going to have number 0 leading the team. Did you see that Mariota chose 0 for his number?
I have not seen that, but hey man, if that's what you want to roll with, so be it. But wow.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, the only 0 was Gilbert Arenas, Agent Zero for those of you that aren't from here, Wizards,
Hmm.
Bullets back in the
Yeah.
day. He chose that. So that's cool. But I would not want to be 0, especially as a skill position player. Because just
No, man.
imagine the jokes that write themselves now. Like, oh yeah, Mariota had the same amount of touchdowns as his jersey number this week.
Mm.
And just different stuff like that. I'm not too sure why they go
L-
that route, but
Look at
I'm
that
sure
already. See, already
it
shots
writes
fired.
itself, man. I'm just saying.
Shots
I don't know.
fired.
I'm not a fan of the Mariota signing. I mean, we did what we did, and I
Yeah.
get why we traded Sam. This is actually what Terry had to say about the team trading Sam away.
Every year.
Mhm.
But how surprised were you that Sam was traded?
Yeah, you never. Well, I don't want to say never, but it's always tough seeing like someone you build a really good relationship with go on and move on in their career, and especially your quarterback, because as a receiver you want to continue to try to build that chemistry. You know what I mean? That was only our first year playing with one another, and I feel like him and I had our we made some great plays and we had some room for growth, and I think that comes with any new quarterback receiver relationship. And so but to see him go in a situation where we have a chance to compete and play under a really good quarterback in Geno, I think he'll really like playing with receivers like, throwing the receivers like Lockett and Jackson Smith and Jigba and DK. You know what I mean? So I think he's going in a situation where he'll have a chance to continue to show that he can play quarterback at a high level in this league, which I still truly believe in. We know this is a business, and I think hopefully things work out for both sides. But I always have a lot of respect for Sam, how he handled things good and bad last year. And, I think he took a really big step in his career to continue to prove that he can play at a high level.
I don't know. I don't think he really answered the question if he was surprised that Sam got traded or what. But I mean, I'm not expecting him to really say anything.
Well,
And
I think he did kind of allude to yes, but it's a business. He
yeah,
understands that. So I mean, I don't think he really elaborated as much as you would like for him to have, but I mean, at the end of the day, he did say, it's a business, and so we understand that.
and that was actually the thing that people ask me the most when other than where's Rally Captain, why do we let go of Sam? That was everybody I pretty much ran into said, why don't we keep Sam here? Why don't we keep Sam here? And you and I have talked about on the show. I feel that we had to trade Sam if we could get something good for him, because the second whoever we draft messes up, everyone's going to start yelling for Howell. They're going to start
Yeah,
howling in the stands. It's the same reason when Wentz threw balls in the dirt. Next, you had everyone screaming for Heineke and this
sure
and that.
did. Yeah.
And I think we just need everybody on the same page, from the fans to all the coaches to all the players in the locker room. Because I mean, you heard stories about how players didn't really want Wentz to be QB and how they were pulling for Sam to do it and this and that. And I
Yeah.
just think we need to be unified for once on this team. Even when we had, I'd say the last good quarterback we had was Cousins. But even when we had Kirk here, you still had people pulling for Robert and not
Oh,
pulling for
definitely.
Kirk, or vice versa.
Definitely. And one thing that fans have to understand is that an owner or a head coach, if I'm gonna go down, I want to go down with the guy that I picked, not someone that was picked for me. I don't give me any excuses. You know, if I don't succeed, I don't succeed with the players that I brought in, not what I was forced to deal with.
Yeah, and that to me was the beauty of Mariota's contract last year. Not Mariota, sorry. Jacoby Brissett's contract last year because it was a 1 year deal. I didn't want them to offer a ton of money and bring in some other guy that this new regime got stuck with. Because
Hmm.
then next thing you know, you're somewhat indebted to let this guy do something because he's on the roster. But
Yeah.
no, we've got a pretty much clean slate with all these guys. And I'm just damn impressed with how they have molded everything here. And, you know, I'm trying to stay medium, right? I'm trying to not get overly excited. But next thing you know, the Texans, they've got freaking Stephon Diggs and CJ
Yeah.
Stroud, right? I mean, and this is their second year, and they're going to be a potential contender now. And Rubio, Commander Tequila, was talking about going to put some bets down on us winning the NFC East and this and that. I'm trying to think, it's like, whoa, slow down. I mean, granted, hey, you guys spend your money how you want to spend it. I'm not telling you how to do it, but is it possible? It is. I don't
Anything's
know.
possible.
Anything's
Any,
possible.
anything is possible.
Well, one thing that's not possible is the Caps and the Wiz moving to Virginia. So last we talked, it was last Wednesday, and they hadn't made the announcement. Next thing I know, we turned the microphones off, and all of a sudden, breaking news: District of Columbia agrees to terms with Monumental Sports. Thinking, well, what are you guys talking about? And then, did you watch that press conference with Leonsis and Bowser?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
For those of you that didn't see it, just imagine someone taking their fingernails on a chalkboard and just dragging them down the chalkboard. I mean, that's what it felt like watching the damn thing, because you could tell Leonsis didn't really want to be there and he was eating crow. And for those of you, that everyone listening has to know
Yeah.
that the stadium deal for the team to move to Virginia got shot down and is not happening. And the Wiz and Caps are going to be in DC until 2050, 2050. So I'm happy as hell about it. I'm about to leave here to go to the Lakers game in a minute. And I can't wait to get down to Chinatown. I'm ecstatic for all the restaurants down there, all the bars
Hmm.
down there, and for DC. You know, it would have killed the area if we lost that. But
Yeah.
do you think this has any negative impacts with the Commanders coming back to DC now that the city's
Oh,
committing $515 million to Monumental?
definitely. Definitely. And one of the things is it was already said that they realistically don't have enough money that so Ted wanted more money, and the money that they have allocated is still not enough, technically, is what I'm hearing. So, but it's enough to draw him back in to do what needs to be done. But I also told you guys that we remember that back in the day they tried to put Commander's Field. Well, at the time before it was FedEx Field, they tried to move from RFK to that plot of land, and it was shot down. And once they were saying, "Oh, it's a done deal," Leon says, "It's a done deal." And I said, "Wait a minute! Until they put shovels in the ground, it's not a done deal because those people don't want it there." And then all of a sudden, look what happened. And they made everyone believe that it was a done deal. And I just kept saying, "Wait a minute, I don't know." But to get back to your question, the fact is DC's cash strapped, and who the owners are going to want DC to put down X amount of money. And I just don't believe that DC has that cash flow to be able to do it. Plus, when you look at everything that, and we talked about this last week, when you look at everything that they want to do with the site of the stadium, practice fields, eateries, hotels, yada, 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 there's just not enough space for it, I don't believe. So
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
So be it, brother. But I see uh, a portion of the parking lot at Commanders Field being under construction with the new stadium and everything they want.
You think they're going to start taking out some parking to start building a new stadium there?
They're gonna have to.
Well, this is actually what Bowser had to say if the Leonsis deal, monumental deal, affects the Commanders deal.
How much, if any, of what happened last week, the $515 million to Ted, how much of that impacts the effort to get the football team back to the city?
One has absolutely nothing to do with the other. We have been pursuing both for many years. And if anything, it will allow us, having Monumental on the right track, would allow us to focus our energies, our planning energies and political energies on RFK.
So I don't agree with the mayor, and I don't expect her to say to negatively affect the Commanders deal. I mean, she's going to say everything she possibly can right now. Just like, who was it? Adam Peters is basically telling everybody that they're the best thing he's seen and they're going to do very well in the draft and this and that. He's telling that to JJ's people. He's telling that to Drake's people. I mean, he's not going to lean one way or the other. And Bowser's not going to say, no, well, we just gave $515 million up. So, yeah, we can't afford to have the Commanders here, because there's zero chance anyone's going to be happy with that. But I am with you. I do think it's going to make it tougher to get something done here. And Phil Mendelssohn, I can't stand this guy. Excuse my language. I'll have to bleep myself out here in a minute and give me more to edit. But this guy drives me crazy. He added he's still opposed to bringing the team back to DC. I believe strongly that the city should not be putting money up for yet another stadium. And this is just the DC council saying this. So now this gives the council even more ammo, if you will, to fight the mayor on, you already got what you wanted with the Wiz and the Caps. We're not going to give it to you twice. Shame on us at that point. And they feel that right now, building a football stadium is just a bad economic move, because at least a hockey stadium and basketball stadium, it's going to get used 82 times just for those games, not counting all the concerts and everything else. I'm going to Bad Bunny next week. I'm going to need a Google Translate because I'm not going to be able to understand any of the songs, but I'm going, right? And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And I think you and I are in agreement that I think it's going to happen just at FedEx, because we still got to wait for the Senate, and we still got to wait for the president and then the council and the DC residents to get along. And that $515 million is, a big chunk of, that's $515 million in 3 years that they're giving Leonsis. So I'm a DC resident. Where are you pulling all this money out of? I mean, I know that the treasury is downtown, but I don't know if they're printing any paper down there.
What's all the speeding tickets?
There's a lot of
red light cameras. A lot of red light cameras.
Oh yeah. We told people when they're leaving our house for Easter, you gotta be careful, because there's 3 red light cameras right when you leave our neighborhood. So just don't get caught, because they'll get you. And it's like $115 for the first one, and it just goes up from there and there. And that money's no joke. But I don't know, man. Deep discussions with Maryland. DC just agreed. I think Virginia's done. I don't think anyone wants to deal with them anymore after how embarrassed Leonsis had to be, because no one wants to go out there and have that press conference like Leonsis did, and next thing you know, just eat crow.
Well, it goes back to what we were talking about as season ticket holders. We knew the price was going to go up, but how they did it is what frustrated us. And so what happened with Leonsis, he did it to himself. He made it seem as though it was a done deal when it wasn't. And they didn't think that they were going to bark so much to the way they did. And so now here it is. You got to eat crow. So they don't want that. Do it the right way, and you won't have to worry about it.
I just hope, much like the name, man, and what's going to happen with that in the next couple of years, I'm tired of talking about this.
Yeah.
Is it going to change? Is it not going to change? Can I go to the team store, and buy the new Commander's draft hat for the draft, or am I going to save my money and not worry about it later? I see you rocking yours right now, right? Or
no doubt.
are we going to get a new stadium in DC, or is it going to be in Maryland? Do I got to put my house on the market and plan to move so I can still see that stadium, or what am I going to do, man? Let's get it started and let's try and figure all this out, man.
Well, we're on the clock, as they say in the draft. And one thing that we know, time does not wait. So it's happening. It's going to happen. And just like the music is playing, it's time for us to draw this to a close. I'm trying to hear what song that is. But everybody, let's get it started, right?
There you
That's
go.
what it is.
There you go.
Okay, I need to go on one of those game shows. But
I think Shazam would have beat you.
Suzanne would have been, yeah, probably. So, as I was saying, this brings us to a close, and we appreciate you guys riding with us. Stay tuned for that cookout, because it's gonna happen. Don't know when it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. Hey, Rally Captain, Tailgate Ted, you rep it hard, you don't rep it at all. We're out.